Just a reminder, you can catch me recording this podcast live on AMP. AMP is a new live radio app that lets you call in and chat with me in person while recording. Get the app on Apple's App Store and make sure you follow me at John Middlekauff to get notified when I go live. What's crazy is, like, for as good as things get, you also mentioned 8-5. Like, I Phil Savage, who used to be a GM, ran the Senior Bowl for a while. Now he works again with the Jets. He called Alabama radio for a long time, and he lived in Fairhope. He's a Southern guy. And he's like, when things are going well and you start winning, you get, like, the best case is Nick Saban or Kirby. But you've seen it with your coaches, right? Les, Ed, and I knew Jim McElwain from Fresno State, and obviously you got the Florida job. And he Phil always said, when this negativity comes over in the SEC and you're not one of you guys, it's impossible to stop the tide, right? And you saw it with Harsin last year, and you can see it felt for a second last year like it was going to happen early on with your coach. But he's so damn good. By the end, everyone's like, now you guys are the favorites to win the West. Isn't it crazy? How did that happen? Is he just that good?
He's that good, man. He is someone. I mentioned the aura that people give off earlier. I'll never forget when he first got hired, they had this event in the stadium, and it was for ex-players, big boosters, just a meet and greet sort of deal, right? And what I was just really watching, I didn't care. No, I wanted to, you got to go glad hand in front of the new president. You want to try to get a positive little intro and, hey, what's up? We look great, blah, 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 whatever.
Keep those VIP passes flowing,
Yeah, but, what I really wanted to see is, okay, how's he going to work this thing? And the acumen that he showed, the dude just gives off the feeling of a Fortune 500 CEO, right? Like, he had someone subtly feeding him information on who he was talking to. He had a wonderful little anecdote or little joke to be made with every person. Like, he just was incredibly ingratiating to a room full of very powerful people and just former players who were just there because they were players and they're not anything really important in the program now. But just watching him work that room, I was like, okay, this is a little bit different. And then you start to dive into his process. And like most of the greats, he's incredibly process oriented. And here you have someone who has been building up this process and his skill set for an entire lifetime. He has one missing crown jewel. And he basically, by leaving an 11-2 Notre Dame team that was knocking on the edge of the playoff and going to an LSU team that was sub 500 with 39 scholarship players during the Texas Bowl, he basically told you he felt like he had reached the glass ceiling at Notre Dame. And then all the acumen that he had built up, he needed a better engine through which to apply it. That became LSU. The year one results are fantastic. We'll see what ends up happening in year two. It certainly looks very good on paper. I'll say this. It is without a doubt, and I love Coach O. That's my boy. I played for Coach Miles. This is by far the best coach that LSU has had since Nick Saban. And,
I agree.
And what's interesting here is, man, he's getting paid $100 million, right? That's a lot of money. But college football is fascinating. I love the parallels between college football and like medieval warfare. And that's not even just because I'm like a big fantasy nerd, which I am. I love all that kind of stuff, right? But when you think about it, like the college football game day itself feels like a medieval tournament, right? There's exotic sights and smells, and you have these foreigners wearing these different colors, and they sing their own weird songs, and people are selling their wares and all this sort of stuff. And then you have the tilt at the end of the day, and it's wonderful. And then when you zoom out, though, a successful college football program starts to look like successful military conquest. Go look at pictures of Tuscaloosa pre-Nick Saban, 2000. And I mean like the city. Go look at the economy. Like the potential benefits that you reap can be massive. He didn't just bring winning football there. All of a sudden, Alabama, the academics are higher than ever. It's harder than ever to get into because there's so much out-of-state tuition because they're constantly playing for natties. They're constantly being advertised to this larger audience. You have investment in the city. You have businesses want to be there. You have the same way that the great Roman generals would come back and build temples and statues. You have new buildings going up all around campus, all throughout the city, and you're seeing it now in Georgia as well. And what's scary about Georgia is they even have a higher potential than Alabama because they're kind of like LSU, where I'm not counting Georgia Tech. They have no major in-state rival. They are just as good. Louisiana, we always brag about our professional athletes from a per capita standpoint.
Yeah.
Georgia's just as good, only they're multiple times more populous. Okay. So on a per capita level, they're equal with you, and they have a ton more kids to pull from, and they have a way better economy and money from which to pull. And they also have no other flagship committee with them. Like, as good as Alabama has been, Kirby Smart looks as if he is poised to take that and go to an even higher level than we've seen even in this Nick Saban era, potentially.